All right, folks, it's all come down to this. 2 days, 7 teams, and an extensive pool play, bringing us to our final match for the Open Division in the 2026 Division 2 Ultimate Championships here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch. We are at Hagley Park North, Bob Dean's Fields. It is a beautiful day. There's not a cloud in the sky. The sun is bearing down, but not as much as the weight of the expectations these teams have put upon themselves to get them here. We will see whose will is stronger as we have Brisbane's Heavy Machinery facing off against the Exiles Open squad. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
My name is Ben Simmons.
And it hasn't changed since last time, Ben. Good to have you back in the booth with us. It's going to be an exciting match, folks. All of these the teams have played everyone throughout the course of their tournament. They had essentially a round robin and then progressed with top seedings, moving into a final match to figure out who takes the top spot. It's going to be an exciting one. All right, it's going to be a beautiful day. It's a good day for Frisbee. Yesterday we had a lot of wind moving through the area around this time. We had a really dominant crosswind for your streamed field, so from the far side of the screen towards the near side. Things are a lot more stable today, so we're going to see a lot more of the power, particularly in the Open Division, just uncorking some big throws, sending some really large shots. A little bit of classic dude ball never hurt anyone, and we're going to see how that shapes up for this final match of the tournament.
Did they beat them previously? to
going back to get a little bit of information from pool play. This is, of course, with the pool play leading into a final directly. This is a rematch. Heavy Machinery, they were... The Heavy Machinery Exiles match was the only one that Heavy Machinery weren't able to take all the way to the point cap of 13. So not too much of a surprise to see these two teams in the finals. The first match did go 3 points ahead to the Exiles, but as they say, the hardest team to beat in a tournament is the one you've already beaten.
And Ben Sutty kicking us off with the pull for Heavy Machinery.
Nauman going up, putting the big shot.
Taylor Nart's bringing the disc down nice and easily, putting the disc past the defender right to Charles Ettridge. Great layout from the defender there, but Charlie Ettridge, easy grab for the first Exiles hold. Super quick first point of the game.
Huge work there. A great assist by Campbell Nauman. What an absolute hockey assist, rather. Just a dynamite throw to find Taylor Nart's. Just floating off the ground to pull that one down, and a quick continuation through to Ettridge. Really well done by Exiles to put their mark on the match.
I think what we just saw there from Exiles is what we will likely see very often throughout the rest of this game. Nauman, Taylor Nart's, the likes of Fernando coming out on the field in the next few points. We saw a lot of them in their previous game on stream against Hive from Auckland, and I think we'll see a lot of deep shots from those players, lots of chemistry there.
Like just a shout out as well to the Heavy Machinery. It was Tim Graham there. That big, like, it was a sky attempt. He went up for it over Taylor Nuts, didn't come down with it, hit the ground, immediately continued his pursuit. To pivot that into a layout is just huge explosiveness, and we're going to hopefully see a lot more of that throughout the course of the match. Last thing, though, these teams just have to leave everything out on the field. So there's not really much to save energy for apart from possibly the drive or walk back to the accommodation. Huge pull.
Great called by boys. We're seeing a similar Heavy Machinery offensive set of players to start the game. Boys taking the disc in the center. Schwartz looking to be the reset. Cameron as the front of the stack.
So if that bailout option's necessary, we'll expect to see him peel in to backfill the handle space. Schwartz with a little bit of a boogie.
Major and Mudwa in the backfield looking to make some gainers with their cuts at the moment. Cameron with the disc. Boys looking to get open the backfield. Quick reset. He's going to swing the disc to Schwartz on the low side of the field. Schwartz looks off the downfield look. Back way across field.
What a find.
Looking
nice
at
and
Theo
open.
Burnside. Sending the disc to Tsang. Boys not able to make the cut that Tsang thought he was going to make. That's going to be a turnover from the Heavy Machinery offense. Sam Taylor Nart's looking to pick the disc up for this Exiles defense.
Importantly, it's also an unforced error there. So if we see Taylor and Arts able to put something together to execute here, it's a break that Exiles were capitalizing on, but they didn't need to earn. So it gives them an early stage in the match without having to expend too much energy to get it.
Exiles give and go. Back to Taylor and Arts. Dave Sanders coming in the backfield to help out. Grabs the reset. Sam Taylor and Arts is staying in the backfield, giving and going, taking all the time that they need. 5.
Murua on the mark, puts the big inside out rip up, looking for Nauman under double coverage. Too clean, he's pulled it down.
Big rundown effort from Schwartz and Cameron, but not good enough. Nauman dishing the disc in for the Exiles score.
I think that's Hodgman pulling
Big
that one
Hodgman,
down.
Yes. So what we were expecting, a nice huck from Taylor and Arts to Nauman, reeling it in on the end zone line.
Well, I mean, it happened the other way, going, you know, it was Nauman to Taylor Nuts for the hockey assist on their previous possession as well. So Exiles up by 2. They're definitely not going to want to let the previous match that they had against Heavy Machinery impact too heavily their mindset coming in. They're here facing off against a fresh team, ready to give it everything. They're currently 2 up. Whatever they have done in terms of preparation seems to be working for them.
We're seeing some of that finals pressure potentially kicking in for the Heavy Machinery offense. There weren't a lot of those communication errors in their last game, and they're going to hopefully be able to shake that nervousness off and find some more consistent communication with their handlers, make some more passes up the field. Exiles putting out a very similar looking D-line. Fernando coming on for Taylor Arts. We're also seeing Rob Silbabar getting out there for his first point of the game. Fernando ready with the pull.
Huge whip, uncoiling a long pull right to the back of the playing area.
Hair to Suddy with the backhand huck, looking for, I think that's William Suddy with the disc. That's a Suddy to Suddy twin play. Love to see it.
Really, really good find. Nice to see as well. Heavy Machinery iron out those wrinkles and answer back with a strong point of their own. Exiles, you can play a long game and put some points on the board. Hey, so can we.
Heavy Machinery using their speed in the downfield space, recognizing when they have a step or two on those defenders. If you're able to win those matchups, it's always going to be a good look. Great body positioning by Suddy with that sky ball. See this huck from his twin brother. Beautiful play from the Heavy Machinery.
Great work by the Exiles defensive side as well, having that good shoulder-to-shoulder contact on the way through, really, really close pressure. But just the shape of that disc as it fell means it was always going to end up in the hands of the Heavy Machinery receiver, here with a huge pull.
Aiden Hair, a.k.a. Pookie. Or Golden Hair. They have a few nicknames for the man. Newman with the disc back to Fernando. Call downfield, though. Fernando immediately gives the disc back to Nauman. He knows it was affected by the play. Oh, I was wrong.
Possibly not affected. We'll see where that kind of resolves. It was good to see as well. Sri getting involved in those early positions and not hucking, getting some initial handler movement to start things off. Nice to know people can diversify. Nauman takes the skies, big left-handed rip.
Can Utridge make it for another score? Huge layout attempt from both players, but Utridge comes away with the disc.
Oh, Murray
big
Ang.
Score.
Murray Ang looking like there's a bit of an injury there.
Utridge making sure his defender's okay.
You can go check. So, strong score by the Exiles side, but Murray Ang taking his time leaving the field, getting some support from teammates. Looking like he's clutching his shoulder, which is an unfortunate injury. Putting body on the line, working so hard to try and generate that turn for his team. It's a big ask. and a big sacrifice.
Two breaks for Exiles? One. One break and 2 holds for Exiles, 1 hold for Heavy Machinery. Murray Ing will be going to see the physios.
Hopefully we'll be able to get an update for you on how he's doing. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It's a hard thing to do, you know, as we've said, this is the last game of the tournament. They're gonna leave everything out, but our hope is that they're able to, you know, fly home in at least a little bit of comfort regardless of the outcome of the match. We're gonna see Fernando with the disc for the pull here.
Wind's picking up, going for the backhand roller. Schwartz looking to stop that roll, centering the disc to Boyd. Boyd driving this Heavy Machinery offense. Busby on the mark, stopping that backhand around. Disc goes back to Schwartz, bounced upfield to Boyce. Great layout to keep the disc in play. Major coming under for the disc. Doesn't get thrown to, though. He's going to streak deep and open up the space. Schwartz looking for Boyce. Isn't going to have him. Disc goes across field to Cameron. Great break from Schwartz. Back to Boyce. Busby catching up on the mark. Boyce going to put the big flick around. Not staying up, just too far out of the reach.
So close. Yeah, so close to hitting that that connection there. Right in the front of the end zone. But it's going to give the Exiles an opportunity to swing back. Fernando to pick up in the coffin corner. Vertical stack in the downfield. Hits the inside break.
Exiles, big flick hook. It's going to turn over in the window. Shorts coming down with it. Boyce coming back field to start the offensive movement. Cameron with the disc. Major striking deep. Throw's not going to go over the top, though. I don't think that's what Cameron wanted. Fernando coming back to pick up the disc. Matthew Rhea in the reset space for the Exiles, getting the center. Doesn't have any cuts at the moment, though. Disc comes across to Riley Bruce. Bruce to
Sanders in the midfield, marked by Schwartz. Being abandoned. Fernando there is the only reset. Little pop around. Oh, he manages to get it back in hand.
It's a save me throw from Dave Sanders. Fernando looking downfield. He has Andy McAfee with the big under. Back to Fernando on the sideline. Richard Fernando up to Dave Sanders, looking to the end zone. Riley Bruce covered. Back to Fernando, up the line.
Great movement by Fernando to get around the defense on that one. Beautiful upline execution.
The upline defense by Heavy Machinery at the moment, completely stopping all of the Exiles' looks into the end zone. Schwartz poaching off of Sanders, not allowing that throw to come upfield. Fernando looking downfield. He's going to need to find something. Huge D from Major. Back to Schwartz. They're going to start making their way down the field. Mudwa open on the side. Major needs to come down with this. Is Fernando with the huge layout. Isn't going to grab it, though. Can Major bring it in?
Oh,
they are going to turn it.
Misconnect on the last one. Absolute heartbreak. A chance for a hold there.
Huge defensive effort by Richard Fernando. Have to assume that gets inside the head of the other players.
Hits the inside break, finds Sanders near sideline.
Busby streaking deep. Maxwell Busby, can he come down with the disc over top of Boyce? One touch, not going to come down with it. Boyce to Schwartz in the center of the field. Schwartz holsters the throw to Cameron. Pradala comes under, does not receive the disc. Boyce back to Schwartz. Pradala across the field on the high side.
Nice little air bounce pass to open things up. Little flick back towards center field, keeping the disc moving. Heavy Machinery, that's going to be what they need to execute well. Oh, big layout to keep that one off the turf.
Yeah, Modula with the disc, up to Schwartz. Schwartz looking downfield. He doesn't have anything at the moment. Burnside with the disc. Burnside swings it cross field. Nice air bounce backhand to Cameron. Cameron's looking downfield at the end zone, needs someone. Boyce streaking up line, beats his defender. Cameron turfs the flick into the ground.
Yeah, a little bit of wind maybe making an impact there, and that low release point also having an impact too.
Fernando picking up again for the Exiles. Rhea in the backfield. You see Riley Bruce, likely initiation. No, it goes straight to Dave Sanders, unmarked. Sanders, Major coming in to set the force, looking backhand for Heavy Machinery. Rhea, huge layout from Cameron on the continuation to Bruce.
Really, really strong defensive pressure from Heavy Machinery. They want to get their hold here. They want to get back on putting up the defense, tightening up the game. They can't afford to let the Exiles get away with another break here.
Schwartz upfield to Cameron on the high side of the field. Back to Schwartz. Trying to keep it up on that break side of the field, give them opportunities to swing when they have it. Schwartz, backfield to Boyce. Boyce looking to give and go off of Schwartz. Downfield to Mudwa. Mudwa looking for, that's Theo Burnside, not going to get the look though. Back to Schwartz. Schwartz on the high side with Gurdon on the mark. Mudwa with the disc on the far side of the field. Matthew Rhea forcing it downside. Schwartz bobbles the disc.
Oh, the big fumble. Uncharacteristic. First real error we've seen from him all tournament in terms of their stream coverage. So Exiles with a shot. It's Fernando, big cannon. He's going to kick things off.
A lot of turns happening in this spot on the field. We've seen a lot of Fernando off the sideline. Rhea with the disc in the middle for Exiles. Dave Sanders calls the timeout.
Veteran move.
Veteran move for a fresh new player.
I think this might, I heard this is Dave Sanders' first tournament. Yep. So yeah. Really, really smart call. I mean, this point with a number of turns swinging backwards and forwards, it's as good a time as any to try and call that timeout, have an opportunity to reconsolidate, just get everyone back on the same page. Hey, once we come back on offense, how are we going to fight for this point? What are we going to do?
Got to be somewhat happy as the Exiles defense at the moment. I mean, the passes aren't exactly being completed, but they are running this Heavy Machinery offense into the ground. Up a break at the moment. I'd be happy to keep the offense line on the field as long as possible. Huge layout from Fernando. We've seen so many big defensive efforts already this game.
It's that one there that not able to reconnect. What a tip and a tumble. And just how quick were Heavy Machinery to snap back the other way. Just disc in hand, right, let's get things moving. Especially if you can make that quick transition straight off the back of a really big physical play by your opposition that leaves them out of position. Start playing some 7v6. Use the offensive advantage. Start working. Yeah, it's just that low release point giving the disc back to the Exiles, but a huge layout to get it back the other way.
Seeing a few unforced errors by the Heavy Machinery team, but multiple forced turns by their defensive efforts to even it back out for them. Dave Sanders going to pick up the disc to start the play for the Exiles. Prahalda on the mark. Maxwell Busby in the backfield.
Wonder if we're just going to see him push into the deep space again. Aggressive on the undercut. Slowing down, looked off. Fernando on the reset, pressured by Schwartz. Just a lateral move, no gainer on that one. Big crossfield hammer to Busby.
Busby looks to Rhea. Rhea backfield for the Exiles. He's going to need some help from Fernando. Shakes Schwartz. Super high stall getting there for Rhea. Rhea's still looking for Fernando over the top of Schwartz. That's a good reset. Down the line for Fernando. Can Sanders come down it? Prahalda on the chase. Great grab by Dave Sanders. Calls the timeout, gets the team settled. The offense succeeds and he comes in with the goal.
A statistical anomaly when you look at how frequently, particularly in New Zealand Ultimate, how well those midpoint timeouts tend to work for the team in possession of the disc. But hey, Exiles are going to do it. They're going to bring it to you. And Dave Sanders is going to get a great run down there. Fantastic work to widen the score even further. We are 4-1 Exiles over Heavy Machinery.
Seeing great defense from Schwartz on that reset. That's almost everything you can really do to try and stop that disc from getting back to stall 0. Great huck by Fernando, just past the reach of Prahalda.
What a put. Just a really, really nice throw.
Seeing Rob Silberbauer out there with the disc. Not Rob Silberbauer pulling. I'm struggling to find the player's name with the disc.
It's going to be Hodgman.
Hodgman with the huge pull. Is it going to come back to the left, though? The IO is holding. Hodgman's first pull, I think we've seen of him at this tournament. Beautiful put.
Big
Suddy
huck,
with the huck.
wanting to put it away. Long with a lot of float. Who's got position? Exiles block. Campbell Nauman. Retracted foul call on that, looking like that was actually Exiles on Exiles violence. Why can't we be friends?
Looks like a few miscommunications. We're going to stop the play to make sure we're all on the same page. Nauman with the disc. Taylor Nart's coming down the open side of the field.
Gets
Disc
the break.
goes, breaks out. Huge layout for Suddy.
Shoulder height. What a clearance D.
I'm not sure if he got anything on it, but it was definitely enough to mess with the hands of Hodgman. Let's see here on the replay. He got his hand on it. Huge layout from Suddy, who's going to pick up the disc. Backhand around. Beautiful.
Well,
toes it in for the Heavy Machinery offense.
Well filed away. That is going to be their second point on the board. Exiles back within 2. Heavy Machinery, rather, back within 2. Exiles up by 2.
Suddy to Graham for the Heavy Machinery hold. Heavy Machinery going out there on defense, needing 2 breaks to even the score back out with the Exiles and put the game back on serve. Putting some of their main offensive handling players out there on the D-line at the moment. We're seeing Boyce, Schwartz, Cameron all out there. Moudwa. Noman, Sutherland, Sri, Utridge, Taylor Nartz, Hodgman, and I believe that is Riley Bruce out there for the Exiles offense. Big pull by Schwartz. Newman picks up just past the brick mark, sending the disc to Sri. Taylor Nartz striking deep. Taking one defender, Utridge underneath. No downfield looks from the Exiles. Nauman with the disc.
Really nice defensive chase there by the Heavy Machinery side to close down those early passes. It took Exiles a little bit to get going, and we're going to see a pick develop in the downfield.
Sturman with the disc, excuse me. Not Riley Bruce out there for Exiles. Sturman's going to be back with Taylor Nartz in the reset space. Moudwa taps in the disc. Upfield, Nauman keeps the disc in his hands through the poach of Schwartz. Big flick up from Nauman, looking for Sutherland. Sutherland going to clap catch that one for the easy score over Prahalda, excuse me.
Great hold there by Exiles. Again, that's where we're seeing a lot of this Exiles success come from in an offensive context. Just recognizing, hey, they've got 2 or 3 real big shooters and a lot of foot speed in the downfield. So just finding enough players to pack both of those key areas on an offensive point and just putting it away. Campbell Naumann, he's got an absolute cannon of an arm. As soon as you get him basically past the brick mark, he's within range to score at that point. And so having those handlers just confident enough to move the disc, gain 5, 6, 7 meters, get him in a power position, and then he can just put that big shot up.
Making sure his defender is okay before immediately throwing a huck for the score.
Yeah.
Love the spirit from Campbell Naumann. He's staying out there to make the pull immediately after.
Just a unit. High front edge, going to have a long float time there. Are they going to use it? Fernando leading the charge, touches down.
Jacob Ellis to Ben Suddy to start off the point for Heavy Machinery. Ellis clearing the space.
A zone look from the Exiles side now.
Graham with the disc in the backfield. Suddy moving back to get the swing. Disc moves across to Jack Smith. Ellis clearing up the line. Covered by Alger. Suddy back with the disc. Suddy to Graham. Heavy Machinery trying to figure out this Exiles zone. Taking lots of time.
Yeah, doing a great job of arresting their momentum. So far, we're only seeing lateral passes and a little bit of a loss of yardage. Not too much in the gaining space.
Ben Suddy on the sideline. Fernando with the big mark. Goes upfield to Smith. Right back to Suddy. Great give and go through the cup. The backhand huck comes up. Looking for Cale Weth. Weth does not come down with a huge D from Campbell Naumann. Might have gotten a heel to the head after that play. Hope it wasn't too bad.
There's no call. Naumann with the shutdown.
Solid power position look from Heavy Machinery. That is a hard defender to shoot to when there's float on the disc.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, great work by the Heavy Machinery side. You know, it took them a little while, but they were able to finally chip that through the Exile zone, get a good power position shot. But they forgot about the snake in the grass. The man himself, Campbell Naumann, parked up in the deep space with plenty of opportunity to close on that one with how much float there was on the disc, as you said, Ben.
Hare coming out to replace Weth on the defensive side of this point.
Exiles up by 3. Ahead 2 breaks at this point. And with a break opportunity of their own.
Taylor Nartz initiating for the Exiles offense. Naumann up line to Taylor Nartz. Run through D from William Suddy there.
Great take. Losing yards, but
Smith with the disc. Graham with the disc, excuse me. Breaks the mark from Fernando. Huge D from Campbell Naumann. That's 2 for the man.
He's just out here for stats at this point.
Taylor Nartz with the disc, resetting to Campbell Naumann. Naumann looking downfield. Has nobody striking deep. Looks for Taylor Nartz cross field. Great break to move it up to the high side. Sutherland.
Nice and open on that undercut. Gets a chip shot through to Naumann, but nothing develops in the downfield. Waits for Fernando. Starts to uncork it. Runs down.
When you are playing with players like Fernando and players like Naumann, you don't need a cut to develop at the perfect time necessarily. If you see the space, if he sees Fernando go for it, he's going to hit it. That's a beautiful cut by Richard Fernando.
And how. What a run. But
great run through D.
Oh, that was the defensive play at the point. And a close
that
second.
Can contest it,
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, Naumann getting the quick return. And it's this here, that little bit of a delay. He's waiting for everything to develop, but with Fernando's foot speed, great open channel. Cutting from the middle of the field as well. So not cutting from the lane in front of the disc, making a huge difference. It's something that Naumann can just put an absolute laser beam out into space and have Fernando make what adjustments he needs to correct his course, get online, and intercept in the end zone. So 4 assists for Naumann at this point.
3 blocks. Man is popping off.
A current plus-minus of 6 when we're only 7 points into the game is a little much.
Riley Bruce pulling for the Exiles.
Strong arm, puts it deep. Schwartz.
Boyce collecting the disc. Boyce, Schwartz, and Cameron in the backfield for this heavy machinery offense. Theo Burnside coming in, popping the disc, getting through this not necessarily zony, but poachy Exiles defense. Tsang with the disc on the low side with the flick. Looking for Cameron, does not complete the pass though.
Absolute heartbreak on that one. You can tell that's not the throw that he wanted, but a quick recenter from Exiles kicks off their defensive riposte.
Alger upfield to Fernando. Fernando's looking for Hodgman. Fernando again with the disc. He has nobody on the swing. Alger coming back field. Disc goes back.
There's quite a deep setup as well, so it creates a lot of space for the handlers to work, but we're not seeing that space utilized very effectively for Exiles at the moment. Their offense is looking a little bit more static than we've seen from them successfully. Oh, not able to connect to Busby on the wide side cut.
Fernando frustrated, looking for some cuts to the open side of the field and wasn't finding anything early enough in that stall count. Cameron with the disc, pumping away the deep field cutter. He has Tsang completely free underneath. Silberbauer calling the pick.
An opportunity for redemption for Tsang though.
Silberbauer catching up to the player. Was picked on the chase, but doesn't think he'd be able to get a block of any kind, so he's just going to catch up and set the mark.
We love to see a little bit of realism in some of our more veteran players. Like, I wouldn't have stopped him getting the disc, but I would have been there when he got it.
Tsang tapping in the disc. Burnside downfield. Majors coming under, clearing out. Cameron looking to be the backfield reset. Schwartz coming in to help. Up line, back to Cameron. Heavy machinery moving down the field. Cameron pumps away the flick look. Tsang coming in under Silberbauer, setting the mark. Silberbauer cannot keep up with Tsang at the moment. Looking to Cameron. Fernando leaving Schwartz, leaving him completely open. Schwartz to Cameron, back across the field, over to Major.
A very dangerous decision to have made.
Play called there. Lots of unmarked players on the heavy machinery side. Good work by Hodgman and Sturman to contain the swing from the heavy machinery side, not letting it in with those two unmarked players coming across the field. Majors with the disc, Sturman on the mark. Back to Cameron. Cameron with Hodgman on the mark. Flick force, high release flick over to the break side, and that is Theo Burnside with the score. Beautiful high release throw from James Cameron.
Great work by Machinery to keep themselves in it. It's 6-3. Exiles are 2 points away from taking half. We're going to run this one all the way to 15, folks, or a 90-minute soft cap. Exiles with an opportunity for a hold here, but great work by the Machinery. Really, really hard grind to get them in.
Difficult throw to see coming as the mark. That's a beautiful release point.
It's going to be here with the disc for the pull to kick things off. Exiles offensive line out on the field. Heavy Machinery hoping to pour on the pressure, generate themselves a break, and keep it back within 2.
We're seeing Weth back on the field for Heavy Machinery. Glad to see he's not too injured after that substitution a few points ago. Nauman with the disc for the Exiles. Taylor Nartz, huge undercut, calling for the disc. He's completely open, looking downfield. He doesn't have anyone right away. Sturman with the disc. Up the sideline, not going to find Nauman. Back into the center. Hare has the disc for the Heavy Machinery offense.
We're seeing a lot of errors on this near sideline, trying to have that outside angle forehand, trying to whip around the defense. Be interesting to see which teams can make the adjustments to be able to execute that a little bit better, because it's going to start paying off for them.
Graham with the disc in the backfield, working together with Hare to move this offense. Not really any connection with the downfield cutters at the moment. They're going to need to have someone cut into space. Hare back to Graham. Weth going to come underneath, but guarded by Taylor Nartz. Great shutdown defense. Heavy Machinery needs to find something. Big break by Graham over the Hare.
That air bounce backhand might be the something they found, but nice interception by Street. Waiting for the downfield to get into a good position. Nauman comes back on the undercut, trying to build something. Utteridge stretching into the deep space.
Graham with the huge mark coming underneath to set it on Taylor Nartz. Taylor Nartz looks for Nauman, doesn't have him on the first cut. Looks to hit deep to Utteridge, who's completely poached. Maybe a little difficulty there, but comes down with the disc. Great put by Samuel Taylor Nartz, hitting the open player with that bladey flick. Not sure what happened with the downfield defense from Heavy Machinery, leaving Utteridge open like that. Hare poaching off, looking to get the block on Nauman. Great recognition by Taylor Nartz not to hit that upfield cut and look for the open player.
What a put. Utteridge, plenty of time. Oh, just off balance right towards the end.
Gotta focus on the disc, the feet come later.
If it's in hands, that'll do it. So 7-3 is our score, folks, for those keeping track at home.
Nauman looking to make the pull for the Exiles. That lefty pull with the slightly different spin always messes with me a tiny little bit the first time I have to catch something pulled by a left-handed player.
What a rip.
Cameron chooses to let it down. Schwartz with the disc in the center of the field. Horizontal look from the Heavy Machinery offense. Schwartz, Boyce, and Cameron working together in the backfield.
Taylor Nartz hungry on the mark with Ray and Sturman at the front.
Burnside up the line, solid pass by Boyce to get it through that stack. Boyce centering to Schwartz, keeping it alive. Praldaha coming backfield to help as Cameron moves out of the space. Boyce, beautiful upfield throw to Tsang. They've broken through this zone. Tsang looking for Cameron. Cameron wide open. He has two players in the downfield space, chooses to wait, looking for Boyce in the reset.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. Knowing that Nauman's parked out the back there, what kind of explosiveness he can bring to a defensive play in a clutch moment, holstering it and continuing to work the midfield's probably the right call for this Machinery side.
Schwartz calling in Tsang to help out in the backfield, swinging it all the way to the low side. Not rushing the play. Schwartz back in the reset space. Cameron wide, moving it back up to the high side. This is great work by the Heavy Machinery offense. Tsang in the backfield space. Taylor, Nartz, and Sturman happy to just poach off the two handlers, letting them just keep the disc in that space. They can't get the disc past them in this set.
Really patient offense. Schwartz somehow managing to keep that one in hands. Chip shot through.
Cutting through the defense. Boyce on the end zone line. Taylor Nartz finally setting the mark. It goes back to Tsang. So much patience from this Heavy Machinery offense. Big pivot. Tsang has the disc again. Sanders not letting that disc go on the inside. Sturman on the mark. Schwartz to Boyce.
We see the hands at the back of the end zone calling for a big overhead, but Nauman's parked out the back there. Smart, patient offense by the Heavy Machinery is going to be what causes them to walk away with the hold here.
Taylor Nartz on the mark. Schwartz looking for Boyce over on the high side. Give and go in the middle, keeping the disc at a low stall count. Schwartz to Praldaha, keeps the disc alive on his knees, gives it back to Schwartz on the high side of the field. Schwartz calling for players to come in and move this cup, force Exiles to pick up a player and give them the opportunity to hit someone else with the disc. Praldaha back to Schwartz. Cameron coming down on the high side, once again with the disc. Cameron very dangerous in this position. We've seen the throwing options that he has. Resets to Preldaha.
Really, really good patience from the heavy machinery offense here. It's good to see, especially in the later stages of the match, that they're not being pressured that much by Exiles. They're being stifled, but not pressured.
Berhalda resets to Boyce. Boyce to Tsang. Stang, Schwartz, Boyce, up to, oh, that's not Hoffman, that's Burnside. Burnside resets to Schwartz. Burnside staying out of the play for a long time during that point and making it back when he's needed, keeping the disc alive. Good second effort. Back to Cameron.
Slowly taking yards, a little bit of a fumble. Goes to use, and that's going to be the Exiles' turn, but there's a call on it.
Taylor Nartz has been waiting a long time for that D on this point, setting the mark on multiple players. Waiting for some hand signals from the field. Looking like an injury call for Burnside. They're going to send Ing out.
Well, it's good to see him back after that shoulder bump before.
Disc is in, it moves up to Tsang. Taylor Nartz resetting the mark. Through the hands of Taylor Nartz to Cameron. Boyce bounces the disc up to Ing. Can he come down with it? Ing brings it in over top of Dave Sanders off of the 10-second point that he just played. Not even.
I mean, talk about an impact player, Ben. Really, really good work there to bring them back within 3. Absolutely fantastic. Quick substitution. A little bit unorthodox, but manages to play through, especially on the back of what looked to be a pretty robust injury earlier on in the piece.
Probably not the throw that Boyce wanted, but got to give Ing the thank you for bringing that disc down over top of Sanders' hair with the pull to start this Exiles O point. Nauman coming in with the disc.
Huge big chase. Well done stopping that first pass, but he gets away to Shree.
Holstering the disc, hair covering Fernando, not allowing that huck to come up, but Fernando strikes deep off the next cut. Utteridge looking for him, and Fernando high pointing the disc, coming down with it over top of hair. Good body control by Hair not to take out Fernando on that defensive effort.
Not going to take out Fernando, but Fernando will take out the half as Exiles go 8 over Heavy Machinery 4. We have a game to 15, folks, so we're going to take a little bit of a halftime break. What a fantastic O point. We said it right at the beginning, Ben, that that's the kind of offensive points we're expecting to see from Exiles. Just a couple of 1-2 big shots going up, and just... that's what we're seeing. It's a lot of their offenses coming from some large, precise, long options that they're able to pull down, trusting the athleticism and work ethic of the team. So that's going to bring us to the end of the first half of our final match in the Open Division of the 2026 Division 2 Ultimate Championships here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch. We're going to see it again. One hand. Beautiful. Well done, Richard Fernando. But my name is Blair Monroe.
My name's Ben Simmons.
And we'll be back for the second half very, very soon. Stay tuned.
attention. You make me nervous. In the corner of my best friend's sofa, you were getting by some rum and cola. Wasn't brave enough yet just to talk to you. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty over from the minute that I met you. Under pressure, sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty over from the minute that I met you.
And we are back, folks, for the exciting conclusion of the final match of the Open Division. Exiles facing off against Heavy Machinery. The score currently 8-4. Exiles up by a few breaks at this point. But if you're only finding out that now, what are you doing? Head back to the start of the stream. Watch the whole thing from the jump. It's absolutely worth it. My name, as always, is Blair Monroe.
My name is Ben Simmons.
I know. We haven't had the old Justice of the Peace come through to approve those name changes mid-game. But who knows? It's going to be Exiles coming out. On defense, Richard Fernando with the disc for the pull.
Exiles up by 3 breaks. Looking for that after half extra break. Coming out with the D-line. Boyce collecting the disc. It's going to land in bounds. Beautiful pull by Fernando. Boyce putting the disc right to the middle for Schwartz. Going to bounce it off the sideline there. Hodgman coming in for the switch. Boyce looking downfield. Doesn't have anything on the backhand side. Needs the reset from Schwartz. Prahalda coming back to help out. Doesn't have anything at the moment. Got a very poachy look by the Exiles defense, but Schwartz finds a hole. Cameron with the disc, continuing to Moudois. Schwartz, give and go to Moudois down the high side line.
Such good movement from the machinery to kick off the second half.
Beautiful footwork and movement. Schwartz, Moudois, Schwartz, Moudois, Schwartz, Moudois to Cameron. Love to see the continuing footwork after catching the disc by Moudois. She knows she's going to release the disc quickly so she can continue footwork at that speed, keeping the disc going without forcing a travel to be called.
So really, really well done there by Heavy Machinery. Putting that one on the board, a nice, efficient offensive possession there to kick off the second half of the game. Really well floated in. Defense not in a really great position to make a huge impact, especially on that last pass of the point.
Some might call that shredding, some might say that's not possible to do, but looks quite like shredding give-and-go offense to me.
Now, to be frank with you for just a second, Ben, it's great ultimate is what it is. Absolutely beautiful to see. We're going to see what they do when they come out on defense. But honestly, that's always my preferred style, watching that really nice give-go work. It lowers the threshold, but still allows opportunity for players to shine on an individual level. Shree to pick up after having it stopped by Fernando. Resets early to Nauman.
Always freaks me out to see a lefty hammer come out. Disc goes crossfield to Tail and Arts. Not looking for Sri upfield for the first couple seconds, but Sri stays open. Disc continues up the low side of the field.
A very saggy defense in the downfield from Heavy Machinery is giving Exiles an opportunity to move a lot uncontested.
Tail and Arts directing the offense, pointing at where he wants Sri to go. Sri breaking through the mark. Hodgman with the disc.
Nauman signaling towards the end zone, looking to develop a downfield.
Tons of holes in this zone at the moment. Exiles finding no issue looking for open players. Nauman right on the end zone line. Taylor Arts has looked off. Nauman's looking for Hodgman as the reset, but Fernando comes into the help out space. Graham on the mark. Fernando looking for Sri. Calm with the disc, bounces it off Fernando up the sideline. Big layout attempt, but doesn't come down with it. Fernando's lefty backhand is not completed. Heavy Machinery has the break opportunity here.
Such really patient offense from the Excel side right up until the last moment, trying something that's been still a really solid throw for a player like Fernando, but not one of his 100% options.
Ben Suddy with the disc here, looking for his brother William upfield. He finds him in the reset space. William Suddy looks off Graham. Graham number 2 coming under, but opens up the space for the throw to go for Harry Graham this time. Harry with the disc, looking upfield, hits Smith. Smith with 3 on the mark. Low side of the field. They're going to need to break it up into the wind to get it off this difficult sideline where there's a call on the field. I believe there's a contact called or a disc space violation by the offense. I'm not quite sure. Looks to me like he might be calling a straddle. It looks like Sri's feet were on either side of the pivot foot of the offensive player there.
So within the last couple of years, that rule's been changed under the World Flying Disc Federation to make essentially a disc's width space between the thrower's pivot foot and an imaginary line drawn between the feet of the defender. So it's a little bit of a technical thing. We haven't seen any called so far throughout the course of the tournament because I think a lot of the players, particularly more senior ones, are used to the older rules. But just whether or not there was contact there. Either way, Heavy Machinery are going to maintain position of the disc. Suddy with it now. The crossfield rip.
Hodgman with the D. Centers the disc to Fernando in flow. Sri with the disc. He's going to look downfield. Holsters that flick huck up line to Fernando. Fernando, lots of space. He's going to need some help on the open side if he wants it upfield. Looking inside for Charles Utridge. Utridge continuing the flow across field to Nauman. William Suddy coming across for the mark, and Sri is in the backfield there. Beautiful over the top flick blade from Nauman to hit Sri for the score.
Really, really solid play there to keep it back into a 4-point game. Just holds to kick off the second half. Seeing Sri push that into the deep space and actually get the score being on the other side of the disc, it's always nice to see players get a little bit of a diversification of play styles and of skill sets throughout the course of a game. So really, really, really well done. Nice sequence there. Again, an open Nauman. You can see the way that the heavy machinery defense peeled back to try and shut the lane or pick up any cuts coming back in towards Nauman. A thrower without a target is just a disc golf player, so.
That's very true.
So well found in the end zone for Exiles.
Jacob Ellis leaving his player trying to get that D. Unable to come down with it. Seeing our regular offensive lineup from Heavy Machinery, ready for the pull from Nauman. Nauman looking with the inside out backhand. That's going to double helix back over to the right side. Beautiful hang time. Schwartz collects the disc to Cameron. We're seeing a horizontal look from the Heavy Machinery offense. Prahalda looking backfield to Boyce. Boyce hitting Schwartz on the close attempt by Sutherland. Moudois with the disc. Backhand down the field to Cameron. Cameron looking for Boyce. Doesn't hit that inside throw. And Sanders coming through with the run through D, but there's a foul called. Burnside explaining his perspective to Sanders. Seeing on the replay here. Super, super close call on who got that first. Looks like the foul is going to be retracted and there will be a turnover. Burnside tapping in the disc. Great spirit from all players. No chatter from the other players without being asked. Sanders and Burnside. Lots of respect on the field there.
And an opportunity as well for Exiles to double the score of their Australian opponents. Nauman with some big fakes.
Up the line to Alger. Alger, Rhea coming under with the disc actually. Alger clearing out downfield. Nauman in the center of the field looking for the swing. Moves backfield to Rhea. That's not Rhea, excuse me, that's McAfee. McAfee's getting to a high stall count. He's going to need to find something. Resets it to Rhea over the top of Moudois. Rhea looking downfield, throws the hammer across the break side to Nauman. Cameron early with the jump though. Nauman still brings it down. Finishes the point off with the hammer to Sutherland inside out. Very interesting look from Nauman.
Some great back-to-back hammers though. Love to see that point close out as Exiles go for double digits.
Maybe Cameron, or excuse me, Campbell Nauman's 6th assist of the game.
I mean, he's just a weapon.
Super tight window throw there to Rhea. Moudois almost getting the no-look block on that. One hammer. Tough defensive effort there by Cameron, and then hammer number 2. Sutherland for the score.
So comfortable. Getting up, taking it with both hands at about chest height.
Machinery giving their main O-line a rest for this point. Seeing both Suddies out there on the field. Jacob Ellis likely going to be moving this offense from the backfield for this point. Nauman with the inside out pull for the Exiles. Hare going to collect the disc.
A lot of float. Fernando being the only real aggressive chaser trying to stop the first pass.
Hare swinging it across the field to Graham. Graham's going to hit Weth underneath with the disc. He's going to swing it back into the middle of the field. Graham finds Harry Graham on the low side, continuing the disc up to Suddy. Suddy on the backhand side, steps across for the flick to Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis is looking for Hare downfield. Isn't going to hit him. He has Harry Graham underneath. Harry Graham open on the under, hits Hare, and beautiful layout by Charlie Utteridge.
What a play.
Huge effort. Both players bidding for the disc there. Utteridge getting just ahead of Hare, beating him to the disc. Fernando with the floaty air bounce just brought down.
The key thing is Utteridge went first as well. It was a case of his layout was reactive. So really, really well done by Utteridge to see that opportunity and capitalize on it. Sturman goes through to Fernando.
Nauman with the under. Looking deep for Charlie Utteridge. He doesn't hit it. Fernando's in the reset space, cutting up line. He's going to need to hit Sturman or Rhea. Rhea with the disc, faking across the field, swinging it to Sturman. Fernando finds the open space underneath. Suddy setting the mark, forcing Fernando backhand near the end zone. Busby streaking cross field. Ellis covers the play. Great mark by Suddy, keeping the disc in Fernando's hands. Disc is thrown upfield to Campbell Newman for the score. Great last second throw by Fernando to make sure that disc didn't get turned by the frantic stall 9 pass.
Yeah, really, really great defensive pressure from the heavy machinery side. Every single player working. A lot of effort, a lot of output. Really reactive on the mark, so agile, trying to take up as much space in front of the throwers' channels as possible.
Huge bid from Charlie Utteridge. Oh my goodness. And a nice little cuddle on the ground before they get up. Defender was just traveling way too fast the other way when Fernando threw it right at him. He just could not grab it.
Good find.
Nauman's first goal of the game, 7th point.
Yeah, 7th score, yeah. Oh, well. And in the beautiful Easter colours, a reminder to stay tuned next week, folk, or if you are in Wellington, to come on down and join us in person to watch the Division 1 Championships. So our qualifying season having completed, those teams who qualified will be heading to Wellington next week to compete for the Division 1 national title in both the Open and Women Division. But right now, our final for the Open Division of the Division 2 Ultimate Championships in Ōtautahi Christchurch, we have Exiles currently up by 6. In a race to 15, the score is 11-5. Exiles to come out on defense now. Hodgman with the disc for the pull. That's not coming back.
Moudwa picking up for heavy machinery. Wind picking up a little bit in the latter half of this game.
Horizontal stack here for the heavy machinery side. Looks like they might be lining up for a big option.
Schwartz upfield to Moudwa. Sturman tries to get across for the foot block. Prahalda chasing the disc, and beautiful defensive effort by Trent Gurdon to keep the disc out of Prahalda's hands. Another break chance for the Exiles. Rhea. Third name attempt, Keith Alger to pick up the disc for the Exiles.
We got there.
Thanks for including yourself in that mistake.
Hey, much like the players out on the field, we live as a team, we die as a team, Ben. Don't worry about it. Dave Sanders with the disc. The upline's being pressured. He looks back towards the midfield. Slow to develop.
Alger with the disc, has Fernando in the reset space. He's gonna look downfield to the break side. Huge flick inside to McAfee.
What an
Wonderful
intercept.
D. Smith hits Tsang after his D and continues to run downfield. Tsang into the middle for Burnside. Burnside upfield to Cameron, back to Tsang. Tsang holstering that disc, backhand fake. Fernando on the mark, resets it to Cameron. Bruce on the mark. Tsang just completely open there, shakes and bakes, loses his defender. Finally a score for this heavy machinery offense.
That's going to bring them back within 5. We are 11-6 at the moment. Such good movement there, pointing, signaling.
And watch Tsang get open here after he puts that pass off. Fernando looking at the disc, doesn't see Tsang make that extra turn and get open on the open side. Beautiful score by Heavy Machinery, but still a long way to go for them to bring it back within reach of the Exiles. They're going to need a lot of mental fortitude here. Lots of sideline help, lots of energy. Gonna have Suddy out there with the pull again. Boyce out there to control the offensive effort when they get a turn. Big backhand look from Suddy to start off the point. That's gonna float, looks like it'll land in bounds though. Now I'm in to pick up the disc. Sri in the reset space. Zone look from Heavy Machinery offense here. Boyce, Graham, and Hare all in the cup. Sri over the top to Nauman. Nauman taking his time here. He has McAfee on the sideline, but he looks back for Sri. Looking to bounce it down onto the high side again, but keeping it down low. Nauman taking lots and lots of time. Good popping by the Exiles offense to give Nauman space to hit Utridge cross field. Takes his time though, resetting to Fernando. Big layout attempt from Boyce, but Nauman moving downfield, give and go passes. Exiles breaking through this defense, which has melted into a person matchup. Busby with the disc.
Nauman being engaged, notice the reset, looked off.
Sturman with the disc outside the end zone. Graham on the mark. Nauman coming around to the break side with Hare on the mark. Inside backhand looking for the end zone. Busby, can he keep it in?
Does not look like it. That's going to be called out. That foot drag just a fraction of a second too late. Getting security over the disc.
Exiles players on the sideline helping out with the spirit. Utridge is going to be on the mark for Ben Suddy. William said he's setting up downfield for his brother.
Here we go. Oh no, definitely not in on that one. A great attempt nevertheless.
Disc is centered to Hare. Graham clearing across the field. Hare's going to center or give the disc back to Ben Suddy. Boyce collects the disc in the middle, swinging it all the way across to the high side to Harry Graham. And gets looked off.
Utridge doing so much good work on that defense around the handler core.
Hare up the field. Big trailing edge layout attempt. Such a hard grab to make. Disc rolls out of bounds. Exiles are picking up. And rewatch this layout attempt coming around the backside of the disc. So close. Richard Fernando picking up for the Exiles. Fernando looking for Sri on the far side of the field. Has a huge foot block by William Suddy. Fernando looking cross field for Maxwell Busby. Not ready for that big foot coming across the mark.
Hit him with the old shoe shine. Woo!
Ben Suddy to pick up the disc. William underneath gets looked off. Ben looking across field. Beautiful break just inside Charlie Utridge. Graham with the disc upfield to Hare. Hare trips over some grass. Luckily keeps his footing though. Back to Ben Suddy.
some of these Exiles players being a bit aggressive with their poaching, which is interesting to see, especially knowing that the other players are able to compensate and pick up that pressure elsewhere.
Big
Oh!
foot block from Charlie Utteridge, right back. Foot block for foot block from both of these teams.
They cancel out, right?
3 up the field to Fernando. Near the end zone line, draws the contact on the mark. Isn't going to stop the play though. Looking over the top for Busby with the hammer. Busby brings it in this time for the Exiles score.
Great find. What a put. An unmarked Busby in the end zone is a pretty solid option there, and that is going to take Exiles back over to 12, so still holding on to that 6-point lead with a string of holds in the later stages of the second half. 3 points away from a win at this point, although we are only about 14 minutes or so left on our clock. So double check that for you. Just closer to sort of 17 minutes left on our clock. We'll see how that goes. Again, uncorks the hammer. Cheeky drop of Pino right over the top.
Theo Burnside out there on the heavy machinery offense for Boyce this point. Giving him a rest after a couple of D points out there. Nauman with the pull from the low side of the field this time.
Sitting on a game plus minus of 9.
Oh my goodness, we have a drop pull from Schwartz. Exiles are going to pick up the disc here right near the end zone.
Patience is going to be a virtue here. It's Hodgman. A deep vertical stack pushing all to the end. Inside shot. Can't. Oh, looks like...
A couple of things going on here on the field.
I think they're going to allow it. It's going to be a goal for Fernando to bring them back within 2 of a win.
Great inside shot from Hodgman there. Doesn't wait a second for anybody to get settled on defense.
What a sequence.
Two points to go for the Exiles.
A longer road for heavy machinery. If they want to pour the pressure on, now is the time to do it. Ooh, that's got a Schwartz.
Not quite sure where the confusion happened on that point there. I mean, I did kind of think Fernando dropped it for a second.
Yeah, it was a little hard to tell. I think
very nonchalant with that bobble.
Yeah, and I wonder whether or not there was maybe some confusion about whether or not there was a pick in the vertical stack itself. But considering that they ran an isolation play, they had Fernando as the only cutter. Schwartz didn't seem to have any issues following him. So, big pull from Hodgman. It's going to stretch the length of the field. Going back into the end zone. Mudua to field, pushing forward.
Schwartz is striking deep. He has position here. Mudua up the field to Tsang. Gonna holster that throw. Back to Mudua in the middle. Continuing the disc across the field to Cameron. Looks off a couple of throws. Pump fakes the push pass. Upfield to Burnside. Graham looking deep to Mujwar. Nauman and beautiful defensive work. Unfortunately, the throw is a little bit too far. Nauman and Sutherland underneath the disc.
Looks like there's not going to be a call on that one, although players aren't moving. That looks like that's going to stand as a turnover. Great defensive pressure there by the Exiles side. All right, I take that back. So we are going to see a call and a discussion. I mean, double coverage. Taylor Knotts did go up early but or whether or not his landing and what impact that might have had on Noodle's ability to make a play on the disc. Still a really, really good job to kind of try and adjust the emitter and fall away from the receiver. And even though you at home, folks, have just seen a replay of the incident, it is a reminder that it's up to the players to make a call.
Dave Sanders just chilling on the field. If you're not playing, why do you need to be standing?
He's resting his legs for the last couple.
Disc looks like it's going to come back to Graham here. No decision made on that discussion.
Yeah, so it's going to return to the last uncontested possession. It's going to be Burnside here.
Stahl's coming in on 2. Sturman on the mark for Graham, or Rhea on the mark for Graham, excuse me. Disc goes down to Burnside, swings it across the field.
Great
Cameron
use of the width.
centers the disc to Schwartz. Schwartz back to Burnside. Tsang up the line. Backhand force from Exiles, forcing them back up to the high side of the windy field. And that is Tsang with the disc in the end zone for the score. Heavy Machinery is going to need to continue this run if they're going to catch up to Exiles here.
Going up to 7, keeping still a wide margin favoring the Exiles side, but it's getting slowly smaller with every attempt like that Heavy Machinery are able to string together. Still, Exiles only 2 points away from a win here.
Heavy Machinery looking good with these give-and-go passes. Exiles don't seem to have the consistency to keep up with it like they do with those deep looks. They're always getting underneath the big throws that Heavy Machinery are putting out, but I think if they can keep the passes short, the cut small, and work with their handlers, Heavy Machinery can find some more success with that than I think the deep looks that they've been shooting.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the way that the disc moves, being thrown across short passes, it's not in the air long enough for it to really slow down with intention. So you have this consistent battery of passes where the disc is moving faster than any player is reasonably going to be able to keep up with it. It's only until you start hitting those long options, especially when you've got defenders like Campbell, Nauman in the deep space parking up, that they've got an opportunity to read, to follow its path, and for it to slow down, hang in the air long enough for them to get into a good defensive position and make an effective play. So you're absolutely right. I think seeing Heavy Machinery keep a focus on those short strings of passes when they can generate a turn is going to be the key to unlocking the rest of this game for them. Here with the disc for the pull.
Air bounce backhand there is going to fade outside of the field. Nauman calling for the brick. Almost landing on the camera there.
Horizontal setup for the Exiles side. Fernando in the middle of the field, being given a lot of room to work with. Nauman to brick the disc.
Sri cutting back across to the break side, continuing the disc over to the force side, or the high side of the field, excuse me. Fernando. Unmarked Scuba to Nauman. Nauman looks off Rhea, or McAfee with the disc. Fernando, backhand fake around to the side. Has it on the high side, lots of options down here. Swings it to McAfee. McAfee's going to give it back to Fernando, though, who only looks to break it up the field. Newman's sitting there waiting for the opportunity to get the disc and look downfield. Heavy Machinery switching the force, though. Disc swings up to Nauman on the sideline. Looking hammer, he doesn't have any options at the moment. Disc goes back to Fernando.
Nice and patient offense here from the Exiles side. Nearly getting a bite out of it, though.
Riley Bruce with the disc on the end zone. Scuba to Nauman, who reels it in for the score. 2 goals for Campbell Nauman.
7 assists at this point.
That's Bruce's first assist of the game.
And that's going to take the Exiles open team 1 point away from a win here.
Great job by Fernando there to find 3 open in between those defenders. Riley Bruce, lots of height, easy to get that scuba over top of the mark to the unmarked Campbell Newman.
Did start to helix back a little bit towards the end, but Campbell Newman hitting it at the very peak of his jump. 2 goals, 7 assists, and 3 blocks for number 49, Campbell Newman, putting on an absolute masterclass on both sides of the disc here today. 1 point away from an Exiles win. Keeping in mind, folks,
Richard Fernando with what he hopes is the last Exiles pull of the day. Well, will be the last Exiles pull of the day, no matter what. Boyce collecting the disc to Ben Sutty. Sutty back to Boyce, taking their time. Nothing open in the downfield quite yet. Burnside coming underneath and clearing the space for Prahalda to come under as the handlers work it up the field. Exiles zone, keeping the disc in the backspace. They've got 4 players cycling through that mark. Sanders cutting off that upfield throw, but the disc comes across looking for Major, but Nauman picking it off in the air. Sturman continues the disc up to Fernando with the around the backhand to Nauman for the score. What did we just see? Richard Fernando. We saw him make that attempt in the first day. Did not complete it. That is a completed trick shot for the gold medal. Not sure what to think about that one.
Straight to the Hague. Straight to jail. Are you kidding? No. No. No, no, no. Run it back.
His daughter's on the sideline.
Who does that? Obscenity. This is supposed to be a family show, Ben. Good grief.
Absolutely out-of-pocket play by Richard Fernando to end this Division II National Championships here in Ototahi, Christchurch.
Just get him out and measure them next time. God. What a finish to our Open Division tournament. As you say, again, when these 2 teams faced each other earlier on in the tournament, Heavy Machinery were able to put a 3-point win over Exiles going 12-9. But as I've said a number of times in our streams in the past, every superpower is facing the last war. It's that team that makes the adjustments that's the one that's going to walk away with the win during the rematch, and that's exactly what we saw happen here with the Exiles. Just really, really dynamic, nice and explosive, really good amounts of effort, and that's going to be enough to see them walk away with a win and a gold medal. Well done to both teams, but especially big congratulations to the Exiles Opens team, your 2026 Division 2 Open Division winners, your champions, the heroes. Oh, what a finish. That's going to be it from us here at Bob Dean's Fields in Hagley Park North in sunny Ototahi, Christchurch. A beautiful day, a beautiful win, and a beautiful time here in the booth. My name is Blair Monroe.
And I am Ben Simmons.
From the team here at Ulti TV, a huge thanks for watching. Join us again not too far away now. We're going to be bringing you coverage from the Division 1 Championships in Wellington in just a week's time. But until then, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Ulti.tv. Ulti.tv.